it's me, your Void, and I'm getting older again. It's March! March is my birthday month, which I conveniently share with the rest of my family. We all have, say, like there's a 10-day span where we are all getting older, which means it's absolute fucking chaos at the end of the month. Every damn year. We hate it, but at the same time we kind of love it. I don't know. But this year is even more complicated because I'm also moving house on the 1st of April. And no, that's not a joke. Meaning, all of this is going to gradually disappear over the course of the month, which kind of impacts my reading choices for this month. Usually, because March is my birthday month, I kind of like treat myself and do like mood reading or read only things that I think are going to be 5 stars, or I reread some old favorites. That's usually the time of year when I reread Powder Mage Universe, and I thought about rereading all of Soul Eater this year, but then I thought, that is 25 volumes of mangas, meaning if I read 1 volume a day, which is usually the pace I'm going at when I reread something like Soul Eater, that means I cannot pack my mangas until the 25th of the month. I would like to be done packing my books at that time, so that is kind of a no-no, so I had to improvise. My improvisation was to look at my shelves and pick up some mood reads, and then I was like, all of these sound great. Probably why I own them. And then I thought to myself, wait a hot second. You are participating in read-alongs. Let's check what the must-reads of these read-alongs are first, and then figure everything out from there. And I did. So, the first book I will be reading in March is Valour by Gwynne. I was supposed to read this in January, and I was supposed to read this in February. Why didn't I read it in January? Well, because I just finished Malice and I needed a break. Also, I didn't feel like it. Why didn't I finish this in February? Well, it's not pink, is it? And I don't think there's a huge swooping romance in here either. So I have to read this in March, and not only do I have to read this in March, I have to read this within the first 9 days of March. Because on March 9th, that is the projected date, that the live show for this will happen from the Catch-Up Book Club. This is book 2 in the Faithful and the Fallen series by Gwynne, so I can't really tell you a lot. The first book is Malice, right here. And in Malice, we are introduced to a bunch of characters, and they do a bunch of cool shit, mainly existing, and by the end of the book, a bunch of them also busy themselves with dying. It's like your standard-ish fantasy. You have a chosen one, and this one is like the cool fun thing is that you have 2 chosen ones, one for the dark side and one for the good side, and you don't know who is who! And they are all going on epic quests because relics are waking up after hundreds of years, and old gods are coming back, and there are giants and weird dragon worm thingies and magic and angels and warriors and all the good stuff, right? So I have 9 days to read 650 pages of Valour. Thankfully, I already made eye contact with the audiobook for this to hopefully get through this in time. So this is for the Catch-Up Book Club. Then the other thing I'm going to be reading is Godkiller and Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner for a read-along hosted by Laura from the Book Hermit and Paula from Family and Books. Technically, I should have read Godkiller in February for that one as well, but well, wasn't a romance. That's my excuse. Godkiller is reddish, pinkish, kind of if you squint, but I classify it as not a romance. And at the moment, everyone and their mom is reading Godkiller. I believe that is because the 3rd book is about to hit shelves. And all I know about Godkiller is that it is epic fantasy, and it does a lot of very great things in a surprisingly short amount of time. I don't think it's like, it's very short for a high fantasy book, but that is what I have like present in my memory circuit. How about I just read you the synopsis so we all can figure out together what Godkiller is about, huh? Gods are forbidden in the kingdom of Midran, formed by human desires and fed by their worship. There are countless gods in the world, but after a great war, a new king outlawed them and now pays Godkillers to destroy any who try to rise from the shadows. As a child, Kissen, that's the German word for pillow, saw her family murdered by a fire god. Now she makes a living killing them and enjoys it. But all this changes when Tissan is tasked with helping a young noble girl with a god problem. The child's soul is bonded to a tiny god of white lies, and Tissan can't kill it without ending the girl's life too. Joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, the unlikely group must travel to the ruined city of Blenraden, where the last of the wild gods reside, to each beg a favor. Pursued by assassins and demons, and in the midst of a burgeoning civil war, they will all face a reckoning. Something is rotting at the heart of the world, and they are the only ones who can stop it. Sounds ominous enough. And I just saw it's only 304 pages long. How do they do all of that in 304 pages? That's like half of your average high fantasy. Amazing. I've heard people say lots of good things about it. Like, I don't think I heard a single bad thing about Godkiller, so I am actually actively looking forward to reading this. I wanted to read it for a long while, and now there is like a read-along happening, so that is the perfect excuse to actually pick up the book and read them, right? I can't tell you anything about Sunbringer because that is book 2 in that trilogy, so I guess that's just a continuation of that. How long is Sunbringer? Okay, Sunbringer is 371 pages long. Still extremely short for a high fantasy novel. This is 650 pages. This is almost as long as both of these books combined. Ridiculous. I love it. And if you have been on my channel for a hot second, you will know that I read a book per week, or with my TBRs, I aim for 1 book per week. Sometimes I read more, sometimes I read less, whatever. March has 4 weeks, and again, one of these weeks is just a party city marathon for me and my family because so let's do the math and call it a half week I have for that, and that's perfect because I have half a book to finish with Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. No, I still haven't finished this in February. This was originally for Kirsty's Patreon book club, but then Kirsty says, I never got around to it, so I was like, haha, I can just relax and don't have to crunch and possibly ruin the book for me. So yeah, I just didn't want to crunch and ruin the book for me because this is very much a contender for becoming another 5 stars, just like the first book, Little Thieves, which I have right there. I am just over halfway through, and I am deeply, deeply in love with this book and deeply, deeply in love with these characters, and I reached a point where I had theories and these theories were proven and I gasped some gasps because of it. So I can't wait to see the second half of this book. I just didn't get around to it for a couple of weeks now, so I will aim to finish this in March because I just see this becoming a 5-star read and I want to have good books in my birthday month. So here we go, Painted Devils. What is this whole thing about? Well, we are following Vanya, who is a thief, kind of out of necessity because she was abandoned by her mom when she was 4 years old in the middle of the forest, and her mom just yeeted her into the loving arms of the goddesses of death and fortune, and they kind of raised her, but then the goddesses were like, you're not a goddess, so maybe you should be raised amongst your own kind, so they have Jotun Vanya out into the world, and she lived her life as like a maid servant thingamathing thing, and she was mistreated in that position, and she has a little bit of an attitude because of it, and honestly rightfully so. So she kind of raised herself to be a thief, and that ended with her stealing the identity of someone in book 1, and that led to a whole bunch of shenanigans that happened because of that and around that. And this is book 2, where she is now accidentally part of a con that invented a new goddess. Just that it turns out that this new goddess might actually be a rather old goddess. And now we have to figure out why. At the same time, we have a budding romance with a guy named Conrad, and he has been, by the end of Little Thieves, a bit of a love interest, and their romance in this second book is just chef's kiss, because oh my god, their chemistry is so on point. All of these characters have brilliant chemistry, all of these characters are amazing, and I'm going to shut up now because I can feel myself slip into spoiler territory. Great books, can only recommend. There is a high chance that I will pick up something else on these shelves, although I have to say, again, because I want to pack up my books quite early-ish, that I may be defaulting to my ebooks more often than not. I mean, Godkiller and Sunbringer are already ebooks, so yeah. I am not really looking forward to reading mostly digital. I am a huge physical reader, and ebooks kind of make me read slower, and I don't like that. It takes me forever to get through an ebook, but here we are. Moving is shit, but it'll all be fine by the end of it. If you made it this far into the video, leave a party cracker, birthday present, I don't know, emoji down in the comments if you have nothing else to say. I guess I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye! Look at me, continuing with just continuing series, and the one I pick up I already want to catch up on. I am so not on the naughty list this year.